She was $91,000 in debt and was able to wipe it all out filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy. But what they don't tell you is what happened afterwards.
I am 22 years old and I am in $91,300 worth of debt, and I am filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy today. I've had such a bad financial burden the last couple years, so after meeting with an attorney and doing lots of research, I realized that filing bankruptcy really isn't as bad as it's made out to be, and it was truly going to be my best bet. I decided to file Chapter 7, and truthfully, my consumer debt really is not that bad. A lot of people have it a lot worse financially, but for me, $91,000 was just too much. It was uncomfortable and I just wanted to get a fresh start. I moved to Texas directly after high school and I made a lot of very irresponsible decisions financially and really dug myself into a big hole of debt. I decided, let's go ahead and file bankruptcy. Let's give myself a clean slate. That way I can stop stressing and I can actually do better. Okay, just to give you a little breakdown of the debt that I do have that totals up to the $91,300. I owe about $51,000 on the vehicle that I have. We did try selling that, trading it in, all that good stuff, but I have way too much negative equity to come out on top.
And that's exactly where a lot of people go wrong. Everybody wants to buy the most expensive vehicle when they first buy a car, and that's where she made her first mistake.
I bought a motorcycle back in 2022. Thought that was a great idea. I owe $5,000 still on that. Same thing. Tried selling it, not able to get what we owe out of it. I do own a camper and I owe about $13,400 on that. However, I live out of that camper because I can't afford a house. So I am keeping that since I do live in it. I have $2,200 worth of medical bills that I had no idea were in collections. And then I have $12,000 worth of student loans. However, those do not get forgiven with bankruptcy, so I will still continue that payment. And then I have about $7,700 worth of credit card debt, all coming into a grand total of $91,300.
See, that's the problem right there. And I can't judge her because I don't really know her full situation. But a lot of people get in trouble when they first start out as a grown person. They will approve you for these credit cards, they approve you for these car loans, but you got to pay the money back. And most people don't understand that. They think you can just borrow all this money, you don't have to pay it back. And that's where a lot of people get themselves in trouble.
So after meeting with an attorney, she decided filing Chapter 7 is going to be my best bet. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Since I was referred to her from somebody that is currently filing bankruptcy with her, she did cut me a discount. So my bankruptcy is only going to cost me about $1,100. So I've already paid all of those fees to her. I did a free consultation with her, and then after I decided to go ahead and file, I paid a deposit and I received a workbook. I went ahead and filled that workbook out and everything, and it just pretty much, it needed all my information, my income, all my belongings and stuff like that I have, and then I listed all of my creditors as well. So thankfully you are able to actually pick and choose what you do file on whenever it comes to bankruptcies. I did decide to surrender the truck, and then I am surrendering the motorcycle as well. I am keeping my camper and I will have to keep my student loans, but otherwise everything's gonna be wiped clean. So we're gonna go ahead and go in, we're gonna sign a little bit of paperwork, get everything finalized so she can actually file that.
A lot of people don't realize you can't bankrupt out of student loans. You can't do it. You can't bankrupt out of student loans. You can't bankrupt out of taxes. A lot of people get that confused. Yeah, you can bankrupt out of credit cards, you can bankrupt out of car loans and stuff like that, but you cannot do taxes and student loans.
Let's go.
So the first document is called your petition, and it just has identifying stuff on it. What's your middle name?
Anne.
With an E or without an E?
Without.
Do you currently own your own business?
No.
2012 Volkswagen Passat.
Mm-hmm.
You don't owe any money on that guy?
Nope.
Is your name the only name on the title?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure that I've spelled all your names correctly and that your social security number is correct. And if all that's okay, go ahead and sign that one.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Be careful going home. You're welcome. Thanks for working with us on
Yeah, of
times and
course.
dates.
So what she just did was, guys, she goes to the meeting with the bankruptcy lawyer, and that's when they actually go through and see if you actually qualify. They get all the information and see you have to qualify for bankruptcy. And you can do bankrupt, you can do Chapter 7, you can do Chapter 13, and I think there's a Chapter 11. But what she just did is have her consultation, and they're gonna let her know if everything checks out, then she's good to go.
Paperwork and everything is pretty much finalized now. Did all the hard stuff. So she said I'll get a letter in the mail scheduling my 314 meeting, which will happen in the middle of December, and that's pretty much just a meeting with all my creditors, and it's just a Zoom call, and she said 99% of the time none of them show up, which then means that everything goes out the window. So fingers crossed none of them show up whenever we have that meeting in the middle of December, and then after that everything will be finalized and I will be so much closer to being debt free, and finally will have a weight lifted off my shoulders because I am tired of carrying this financial burden. Obviously, it sucks that I'm doing this at 22 years old, but I think that this has been such a learning curve for me, and I will never put myself in this position again. And honestly, it's been just such a good life lesson. So let this be your sign. If you are really struggling financially, you have a lot of debt that you just honestly cannot get taken care of, go meet with an attorney. Discuss bankruptcy. It is truly not as bad as it is made out to be.
She's right. Bankruptcy is not as bad as most people make it seem. See, what happens is folks listen to other people talk about it. They read stuff on the internet, say, "Oh, you filed bankruptcy. That's the worst thing in the world. Your life is over." That's not true. It's actually a fresh start. People do it all the time. Now, it's better to actually pay back the money you borrow. Sometimes things happen in people's lives where you have no choice but to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy or Chapter 13. Now, I'm going to show you guys what happens at her 314 meeting when she actually meets with her creditors if they show up.
Come along with me to my meeting of creditors. So the meeting of creditors is a mandatory meeting that you have to have about 21 to 60 days after you file bankruptcy. And this is a meeting with your trustee under oath where you have to answer questions about everything, go over your assets and everything like that. And this is your creditor's opportunity to pretty much fight you on filing bankruptcy against your debt you have to them. From my understanding, most of the time the creditors don't actually show up to these meetings, so if that's the case, then all of my debt will be discharged after this, and that'll be the end of the process for me. So fingers crossed that's what happened. Luckily, this meeting is just over Zoom, so I was able to step out of work for just a couple minutes to take this meeting, and then I'll be able to go back into work instead of driving an hour to my law firm.
See, most of the time the creditors don't show up, guys, because they don't want to have to go through the hassle. Now, I know they probably do show up depending on your situation, but somebody like her, 22, $91,000 is a lot of debt, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure there are people with millions of dollars of debt that they trying to bankrupt out of.
So we're gonna hop on Zoom real quick and take care of this meeting.
You raise your right hand, I'll get you sworn in.
Okay, we just finished my meeting with creditors. None of the creditors showed up, which means everything should be able to be discharged, which is great news. They are reviewing my 2025 tax return, and that shouldn't be an issue, but worst case scenario, some of that tax return may have to go back to my creditors to pay some things, which is completely understandable and okay. So they're going to review that and then get back to me, but otherwise everything is going to be discharged and we're done. This has been about a 5-month process. It's been very long, drawn out, very mentally exhausting, but honestly, it has been so worth it. And honestly, doing this process at such a young age is going to be in my best interest because I have so much time to recover from this. But I am just thankful that the process is over and I can finally take a deep breath and just start getting on the road of recovery now. But we're one step closer to being debt-free, which is an amazing feeling. This has definitely been a very hard lesson learned and definitely gonna be something that I take with me moving forward in life and never gonna let this happen again, no matter what the situation may be. But I am ready to just be able to take a deep breath and walk away from this with the lesson learned.
See, the good thing is, guys, she did it early. She did it while she's only 22 years old. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You can do it at 65 years old, 55 years old. It doesn't matter. You need to meet with a bankruptcy attorney, and they're going to let you know your options, what works for you. So don't listen to all these people and these comments talking about how terrible bankruptcy is. No, it's not something that you want to do. And you can only do it, I think, every 5 years or something like that. So it's not something you can do every year just because one year you decide to run up all this debt. Now you want to file bankruptcy. It doesn't work like that. But it is an option. And some people get in situations where they have no choice, especially now with these car loans, these crazy car loans and all this negative equity. People got $60,000, $70,000 of credit card debt. You can rid yourself of all that stress by seeing a bankruptcy attorney. Now, I'm no financial expert. I'm no financial advisor. I'm just letting you guys know about certain options that people are taking advantage of. So if you're in that type of situation, look into it. Nobody has to know your business. A lot of people always feel embarrassed. Nobody has to know your business. You have to do what works for you. Everything doesn't work for everybody, but if it works for you, you definitely should look into it. And let me tell you guys something. Once your bankruptcy is discharged, you're going to receive so many offers for car loans, credit cards. Now, you cannot buy a house until I think it's 2 years you have to wait before you can apply for a home loan. But everything else you can get as soon as your bankruptcy is discharged.
I filed bankruptcy, finally discharged. The day I got my discharge papers in the mail was actually like a week and a half after it was actually discharged. Credit Karma actually updated that it was discharged before I even got any papers, so I already knew. And I had got mail about a credit card, to apply to a credit card, which I have not gotten. So I'm like, oh, hold on. My credit actually did this weird thing where all my debt was erased for like 2 days. And during that period is when I applied for the specific credit card that I actually got approved for, which was the Indigo MasterCard. And with that card, I ended up getting a $1,000 limit. I don't know how that happened. I don't know. That had to be God. I don't know, guys. I really do not want to go down the same rabbit hole. So I'm trying to just stick with this one credit card and make sure I do everything right with it and don't dig myself into a pit again. Once I build my credit score back up, then I actually want to get like a travel credit card, like credit cards with perks. And I was 18. I want to say I probably had like 7 different credit cards and about maybe $20,000, a limit of like $20,000. I can't lie, that was a horrible mistake. I did not have any financial literacy. I was 18 and I was in college, so you know, broke college student, and I have all this money that seems free at first, but now I realize that was not free.
I'm telling you, once you file and your bankruptcy is discharged, you're going to be overwhelmed with loans and opportunities to get further in debt. But hopefully you learned your lesson. You know what I'm saying? So don't go out here and start signing up for $50,000 and $60,000, $100,000 car loans right after you just got discharged for bankruptcy. A lot of people do it. That's why you have people filing bankruptcy multiple times, because they don't learn their lesson. So if you're new to the channel, man, hit the like button, subscribe. I hope you guys learned something. Somebody asked me about this, and I figured I would just try to find a way to get this explained to you guys, because like I say, I'm no professional. I'm no bankruptcy attorney, but hopefully you guys learned something and picked up some information from this video. Hit the like button, subscribe. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.